So I was born in Tijuana. I come from a dirt street in Tijuana, Rampa Independencia. Spoke Spanish before I spoke English, learned English at 5 when I came to the United States because I was dying of tuberculosis. Why do I look Irish? I look Irish because my grandmother was named Guadalupe Murray. Also, I said this when we had our introductory meeting with the sponsors, but I'm here in a way to represent your employees. You guys don't know it, but you keep us alive out there. You're heroes. I was a Southland Corporation guy. I was an all-night clerk at 7-Eleven. I was a pizza cook. I was a donut cook. I was a janitor, the public restroom expert on my work crew. And my father was a custodian. I don't know how this has happened that I've become an author and I tour around the world doing this, but I'm very thankful. I call it the God Bless America Tour. It's pretty great. But I'm here to tell you a little bit about something that might be useful to you rather than, shilling my books. And I'm trying to get used to the corporate world. I know Gia's over there with my time cards to show me. You have 5 minutes left, pal. So I'm going to keep an eye on her so I get this done expeditiously. Story swap. This is what it is. The Aspen Writers Foundation is affiliated with the Aspen Institute. If you know the Aspen Institute, they have the yearly Stories Festival. They have a yearly Ideas Festival. Walter Isaacson runs it. So I go there often to teach. I go there to lead workshops. I go there to, they've had me there for the National Endowment for the Arts big read program to represent authors that can't get there. And this interesting thing happened. Aspen, as you know, is a place of extreme power, extreme privilege. If you go there, the airport is full of hundreds of private jets, which to a kid like me from a dirt street in Tijuana is pretty astonishing to see. In the first days when I was going there, they put us up in ski lodges. It was a very generous and wonderful thing, and now we all stay at the actual institute. So I have this insatiable need to talk to folks who are attending to me. It's a little discomforting to me to have people come clean up after me. I still am not used to it because I'm the people who did the cleaning. And everybody there is Mexican-American, mostly, the staffs. And they were having immigration raids where they were pulling people off the streets. And the entire superstructure of Aspen shut down. There was nobody to run the place physically. So the maids were coming by, and I said, "Son mexicanas?" And they'd look at me. I realized they thought, "Oh, man, it's the Border Patrol, I say, "No, I'm from Tijuana." "Oh." And we'd be talking. And this amazing thing happened, which leads into story swap, just so you know. And I think it's something you're used to. You live in stories, you diversity officers. You know this. But the manager of the hotel called me and said, "Would you mind coming down to the basement of the hotel?" And I said, "Why?" I thought I was in trouble, She said, "Just come, could you come downstairs and bring your family?" We went downstairs, and the staff, the maids, the custodians, had made us a feast, had cooked us Mexican food because I talked to them. Nobody'd ever talked to them. And over the years, we've done a lot of stuff reaching out to the communities downhill who come up the hill to take care of the people and go back down. Story Swap is this amazing thing. Lisa Consiglio of the Aspen Writers Foundation has been working on it. She set aside a thing called the Global Story Summit, where she got a whole bunch of best-selling authors, editors, activists, put us in a room, and we did a week's worth of conversation about art and democracy, literature's place, story's place in democracy, and then we did Story Swap. And this is how Story Swap works. Story swap is a function by which two people are united. Two people who have conflict, who have symbolic separation. For example, a Palestinian and an Israeli from either side of the wall. You are brought together. You're in a safe zone. You're in a shame-free zone and a safe environment to share with each other. And then you are given a prompt. A prompt, ours was, should an archaeologist dig up a time capsule and find your one story in the time capsule, what was the story that you would have put in there for all time? The two of you go off away from everyone else, and you're given 5 minutes each. I tell you my story. You tell me your story. You are allowed thereafter to ask a few tweak questions to make sure you got the details right. But then you come back to the group and you present the story back to them, only you're me and I'm you. The alchemy that happens when I own your story is incredible. I've never seen a dry eye in the house when people start doing it. Now, they have done this in Israel. They have done it in Africa and several countries. They did it with Katrina survivors and Haiti victims via Skype. It's a very powerful thing. We realized that this could be used in competing high school football teams in Texas. At the meeting, as we were discussing the incredible power of this program, we started realizing that it's not just a lateral, horizontal thing, it's also vertical. When we started understanding that people in power positions would have the opportunity to do this with somebody who might not be in a power position, it took on a whole new hue. And that's when I realized, we should tell Gia about this, because it's such an amazing, flexible, variable thing that always has the same outcome if it's orchestrated well. My dream is to have a Border Patrol agent do it with undocumented people, because it changes your perspective. And we've learned something that often, I was talking to some people before it started, often you diversity officers, you know this, people come to your office all day long, right, with story, I've got a story, I've got a problem, I've got a story. What we found out was if you come to them with a story and give it back to them, it empowers them in a way that is astonishing to watch. That you have something to share back. It really, I think, lifts them up and keeps the boat floating in a really wonderful way. So I throw it out to you, Lisa Consiglio, who is the guiding light behind this. I think is starting to understand that Aspen may be, though it's wonderful, a bit closed, and that the kind of places that this thing could really work are places like Chicago. In fact, at the meeting where all the thinkers were talking to her, first thing they said, hey, North Side, South Side, man, right? Cubs and Sox fans, man. It was all about Chicago. I thought it was fascinating. So we want to bring it here and do stuff with it here. My wife and I have actually brought Lisa here to town. She's at our house today. And so if you're interested, you can always reach me. You can reach Gia. You can reach Lisa through both of us. We are starting to orchestrate, I think, how to take it on the road. We have facilitators. We're producing texts now. There's actually a document that you can follow with the steps and so forth that we're finalizing and editing now. I'll be really thrilled to speak with you about how this whole system works. But it feels like alchemy when you see it in action. It's just an astonishing thing to do. The full Monty is a 5-day workshop. If you really want to prepare people, and they bring text, they bring a moderator, you discuss something to get a focus together. And just think about it and think if it's useful to you. I am only here with you because of story. I was lucky. I was given the gift of story, and it brought me out of where I was. Steve's a man to me because I was just telling him I used to live in Boston. I want to, before I sit down, just tell you this because it may amuse you a little bit. I left San Diego in 1982 to teach at Harvard. Believe me, that was the most unlikely thing that ever happened. If you believe in miracles, well, if you don't believe in miracles, I've got that one. I was working with missionaries in the Tijuana garbage dump as a translator. And I wanted to get away from it. I had lived in poverty. I was surrounded by poverty. My family was into gang warfare. I was dealing with people in the garbage dump. I was done. My English professor from college was teaching at Harvard, and I wrote him and asked him to get me a job as a custodian. I said, can I get a job as a janitor? Because I've never made any money. I can't take this world anymore. And he wrote me and he said, I can get you a job, but you have to send me 3 published pieces. And I told all my friends, you know, janitors at Harvard have to be published poets, man. I did not know. Story carried me out, and story feeds everything that I do and love. And I'm just seeing this technique that I'm really excited about. And, you know, if you want to talk to me at the break, I can tell you a lot about it, but it does work. And she's around town this week if you want to talk to her. So that's it. Thank you.